guys. First off, I want to apologize. I know it's been over 6 months, if not more, since I've done a video. I've had a lot of life things going on, medical issues that I'm going to do videos about and explain to you what's been going on with me. I know I did a live a couple months back and really don't want to use that one anymore because I was kind of out of it on morphine. But let's begin from the ending, I guess you could say. Last year, around the 1st of November, I had gotten a new student and we had started driving, and I had to take him home, of course, to get his license and everything. And it's probably a few weeks before that I noticed an issue with my foot, just hurting, just, not of serious pain, just aching. And I just blew it off as plantar fasciitis or something like that. So I picked him up around the 1st of November, took him home. He was home for about a week. And then I went out after I dropped him off and made a delivery. And while I did that delivery, I had to stay overnight. So I got up the next morning. It was about 4 o'clock, I guess. And I went to go fuel the truck. And I was fueling the truck. The foot was okay. It was swelling a little bit, so I still had some worries about it. Went to go fuel the truck. Put the nozzle in driver's side, went around to the passenger side, got it all set up, and I turned and I heard a big pop. And I was like, oh, thought it was my knee, but then all of a sudden my foot started feeling better. So I was like, oh well, maybe my ankle needed a pop or something like that. Didn't really pay any attention to it. So went back, picked up my student, and we started driving again. And we had normal runs. I think we went out to California or Arizona, dropped some stuff off there, went to New Mexico, picked up some stuff there, and starting to head back, and we were getting close to Thanksgiving, and I had already made plans to meet my wife in Texas to have Thanksgiving with her family. And I was like, so I invited my student with me because he lived in Georgia. And it was just going to be, day and a half, 2-day layover. Didn't have anything on the truck. We delivered, picked up an empty in Dallas, and drove out to Nacogdoches, which is East Texas. Pretty close to Louisiana border, Shreveport area, about an hour and a half. So I get out there, and I've been talking to my wife about my foot and everything, and I get there, and she looks at it, and she goes, man, you got to go to the doctor. And you go check that out. So we did. Next morning, got up, went to the doctor, sat there for like 4 hours. We thought it was an urgent care, but it was actually, like an external ER. And so they did x-rays and everything like that. And come to find out that I had broken my foot. And not a little break, I'll show you the picture here somewhere. It was an extensive break. And doctor told me, he says, hey, once you get home, you need to have this looked at, and I would suggest you doing it sooner or later because this is not something that I can set in the office. This is an orthopedic thing. And I was like, oh, great. So went home. I think this was the day before Thanksgiving. So went back to where we were staying, and yeah, he had wrapped it up, put a splint on it, and apologize for the phone going off. I forgot to turn it off, and now if I do anything, it'll turn the video off. So there may be some crickets and stuff like that in the background, but so all right, me and my wife discussed it, and I decided, okay, well, I'll have to drop my student off, and then I'll come home. So called my fleet manager, Nikki, and I was like, listen, Nikki, I hate to do this, but I got to drop the student off. Apparently I broke my foot, and I got to go have it looked at, so I need to bring him back to Georgia, park the truck, and I need to take a flight back home, which, Wilson was great. They were like, yes, no problem. Anything you need, we'll do. And so got a load from Texas going back to Missouri, and dropped that load off, then drove to the terminal, parked the truck, and went in and talked to the fleet manager, because I had already figured out and talked to somebody at the orthopedic saying, this is my situation, what's your grasp of it? And of course they said, well, can't tell you here or there or the other way, but what we need to do is, you come in, we take a look. This couple things could happen. Should be a simple break. Should be able to put you in a cast. You'll be out for like 4 weeks. I was like, oh, can I drive with a cast on? He says, it's your left foot, so I don't see a problem if the company doesn't see a problem. Okay. So great. So I went in, talked to the managers and everything, and said, best case scenario, I'm going to be out for like 4 weeks, but if I can get back, I'll come back. Is it okay to drive in a cast? And they said, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll get you another student, and he can do a majority of the leg work and, driving and stuff like that. We'll just run you guys like super solos. I said, okay. So, jump out, and of course we also discussed the other thing, if it's anything major, it could be longer than that, and you may have to be off of it. So I discussed all that with Wilson, and they said, well, just let us know. If we need to stop your lease, we'll stop your lease. If it's going to be for a longer period, then I think they said 8 weeks or something like that. I think they said they would cancel my lease. And go that way. So got a flight the next morning, flew home, got to the doctor the very next day. Doctor walked in, they took x-rays, blah blah blah, looked at everything again. Unfortunately, I don't have these x-rays to show you, but I'll try to point out on the other x-ray what they were talking about. Not only did I have the major break on the left side of my left foot, I also had 4 fractures in my big toe, index toe, middle toe, and toe next to the pinky toe, which the pinky toe was the big break. And I also had 3 dislocations. Apparently, you got 3 bones that connect your main foot together, and they were all shuffled on top of each other. Which he told me that I can't remember the entire name of it. It's called Charcot, something or another. And he says it's related to diabetes, which most of you guys know I have. If not, go back and look at my other videos. I had been in good ranges and everything with my diabetes, but he says it's just something that happens sometimes. So I went, and he was like, well, let's do this first. He says, let me research it a little bit more, because to have surgery on this, could be dangerous. I could have, had a 50-50 shot of losing my foot. And he says, let me do some research so we can figure out what's going on. And did that. He put me in a cast for like 3 weeks. And came back, put me in a cast for a week. And then came back. And took the cast off, did another x-ray, and said, all right, I did some research. There is a 50-50 shot that you may lose your foot because of the diabetes. So he suggested the best thing to do is let everything heal the way it is. And I'm like, oh, And I was like, well, how long is that going to take? And he says it's going to take, 8 to 12 weeks. And I was like, wow. So he says, I'm going to take you out of the cast for now. I'll put you in a boot. And come back and see me in 3 weeks. We'll see how it's progressing. If you need to go back into a cast, we'll go into a cast. Blah, blah, blah. At that point, I was like, great. So I call up Nikki and let her know, say, hey, this is what's going on, what do you suggest, And she says, well, let me run it by, all the guys here. She called me back in about 15 minutes. She says, best thing to do right now is to cancel your lease and leave the company on good standings. That way you can come back. And I'm like, okay, well. And I started making plans. So about 4 days later, me and my son drove from Georgia up to Missouri, unloaded my truck, turned my truck in. Said all my goodbyes and all that good stuff to everybody up there, because everybody up there is, good friends. I like them. And went ahead and stayed the night, unloaded the truck, stayed that night, left early in the morning, got back home, unloaded everything, canceled the lease. I had money in my maintenance fund, so I would get that back after 45 days, which is a good thing. And we had already been planning on moving to Texas. We were looking at March. This was, at this point, was early December. So, of course, without me working, it was just my wife working. Of course, she wasn't making enough money to cover everything, because we had paid off a lot of our bills, but we still had house payment and other big bills that we had to take care of. So, started getting tight. Running through the savings that we had. Come January, it was probably about the end of December, we had decided, hey, we're going to have to go ahead and sell the house early. So I went ahead and put it on the market, and we got 3 or 4 offers on the house. And by that time, mid-January, we were strapped. We didn't have a lot of savings because we had paid off a lot of bills prior to that. A lot of credit card debt we had paid off, which all came back because of this. So sold the house January 31st and moved to Texas. So during that time, they put me back into a cast for a few weeks, then put me back into a boot, saying, all right, another 6 weeks in the boot and you should be fine. This is before we moved Texas. I was like, all right, so we finally, yeah. I was told to stay off my foot as much as possible. Of course, we're moving. You know, I got to move a 4-bedroom house. And so move the house. Understand I'm in this big boot on my left foot. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on my right foot. And which turned into a whole different situation, which I will get to in the next video. But anyways, got my, about 45 days later, got my money from the maintenance fund, which helped us move. If it wouldn't been for that, we would have had to borrow money from family. You know, we got a little over 25,000 gross profit from the house. Which we had plans, but those plans never worked out because once we got here in Texas, and this will be the cliffhanger, as soon as we got here, we got everything off the truck, and I had formed an issue with my right foot, the other one, which caused a whole nother situation. So, going on about 16 minutes now, guys, so I'm gonna cut this before it hits 20, and then I'll make another video about the second part. So first, I want to thank everybody at Wilson. They absolutely been over backwards for me. I still recommend these guys for training school and for work. Yeah, they did me really, really good, and I really appreciate them. And just talked to my fleet manager, Nikki, the other day, and discussed a couple of things. But anyways, yeah, still interested in getting trained to be a truck driver? Do this. Call Wilson. Bradley's number is going to be in the bottom, in the description and everything. Yeah, he's still giving my name. I'm not going to get anything out of it because I don't work there at this time anymore. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update, a little bit more clear update than I did when I was on morphine, because I was pretty much stoned while I was in the hospital. Teaser. But yeah, guys, I appreciate all you guys. I know a lot of you have been hitting me up, and I've just been kind of relaxing, doing what the doctors tell me to do, and trying to get my body healed, because I had a lot of healing to do. Good thing is, I'm better. So, I'm going to start getting back into this trucking vlog thing again, and keeping you guys updated on my life. But I'll get more into that in a couple more videos. So, appreciate you guys as always. Be safe out there. Don't ever get comfortable in what you're doing. Always be overly cautious, and don't be overly confident. That's when stuff happens. Mistakes happen, and it's maybe what happened when I broke my foot. I was just in a situation. I really don't know when I broke it. I don't. It never really hurt. It just ached. And I've been told by people who have broke foot that, you walked on it. I walked on it for probably a month. But anyways, be safe out there, guys. And as always, be careful. Summer's coming back, so stay hydrated out there. And I hope to see you guys down the road. Later.